I actually.
Whoops. Shot a little too early there. Yeah, we'll kind of segue into these things. That's professional as always. We'll never change. Suck it up, audience.
This I think, comes as a comment I made to Colin online saying, have you actually seen that they substituted the dog in the remake of the Omen? Because in the original film you had the Rottweiler right throughout. The Rottweiler was the dog in the garden, and then when Mrs. Baylock says she found a dog outside, it was still the same Rottweiler.
Yeah, that's one thing that did always confuse me with this film. It's like I kept waiting to see that first dog again.
Yeah, the shepherd, and you're like, but here's the funny thing, guys. I completely spaced it, right? I knew this. I think I was away at the Sandy places at the time. That's why I missed the movie. In fact, it was. So I completely joined this up with the Omen 4. I think that was why my reply would sound a bit mad, because I remember all the hype for the Omen 4 and people getting annoyed. And then I'm thinking about, because if you remember the book series, the 5 pentology, the 5 books. Yeah. So after Damien Thorne gets killed, his son's born, and then it's the 2 books of his son basically trying to carry on, and he's just born straight into the cult, and that's the final confrontation. Should have looked them up.
Final chapter, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Sam Neill.
Yeah,
that was the final. But there's a series of 5 books that tells the whole story.
Yeah.
But I spaced this with part 4, and then I'm like, hold on, this isn't a remake. This was a continuation. And I completely forgot about the 666 remake.
Yeah. Oh, you talk about cinemas showing it. I actually, with my son, we went to see the Omen remake, but it was showing on the day of release at midnight.
Nice.
So we actually stayed up and went to the cinema at midnight on June the 6th to actually watch this movie. And we picked up on the dog changing right off. Went from a German Shepherd to a Rottweiler.
Do you think they didn't have a Rottweiler available on the day? I think it was so random.
That would make sense if that was the case.
Yeah, they didn't actually say in the film, and neither in the first film, that it was the same dog. Did they mean that it was a different dog anyway? I think you just took it for granted that the dog that Mrs. Baylock found would have been the dog
familiar?
In the garden at the nanny's part, at the Damien's birthday party, where the nanny topped herself. But
this was a strange one.
Yeah.
Like if I had just went beat for beat the story, which I practically did, but the atmosphere, I've never felt so underwhelmed in my life with a remake.
That's funny.
It's now the original version is dated.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest. But first of all, it has the most iconic soundtrack in cinema.
Yeah.
You hear Ave Satanas, and even if you're not a horror fan, even if you've never watched The Omen, people like Joe Blow in the street will just be like, Damien, you play that music, people automatically associate it. That's how much of an impact the original movie had.
And it's like I said to you, people don't realise that it's not an operatic piece done by one of the big composers. It was done by a film composer, Jerry Goldsmith, particularly for The Omen. If you take the old Spice adverts, they stole O Fortuna, which was a proper classical piece of music.
And they used it in Excalibur as well.
Yeah, but you think of this Ava Satani, and you think, where did they nick this piece of music from? And it wasn't. It was composed by Jerry Goldsmith. and of course it the actual score for the film actually won the Academy Award. And Ava Satani was nominated for the best song, but only got nominated. But hey ho, he got best score.
That's for a horror movie theme tune. That is like the break that much into the mainstream, because there is an aversion to horror. We've talked about this, the beat this horse to death. The mainstream has an aversion to horror, yet horror is the backbone of storytelling and cinema. It's just
I'm just thinking about like the behind the scenes things involved in even getting like nominated. So much money is put into that. Like those, if people don't know, like those awards are bought. They're not won, they're bought. So not only do you have all the press and adverts for the release of the film, but you have double, if not triple, that involved in just getting a nomination, if not paying for the award. So the company that released this had so much fucking faith in this movie and the score that they were able to get that. Like, it's just crazy. Like there's a book out there. I'm fucking blanking on the name. I think it's The Men Who Would Be King. It kind of explains how awards like those work, and it's fucking crazy.
I think people have twigged on though, because the Oscars and the BAFTAs, the viewership has just tanked.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all bullshit.
And people see through it. You can, I mean, it's the emperor's clothes at the end of the day. You can love people for so long, but when people finally get twigged on and then they get past that period of, nobody likes to think they're fooled. So they double down because they don't want to show that they've been made a fool of, and then eventually get to the point of disgust, and then people walk away. That's been seen through for a while now, and that just reflects in the tanking of audience. Nobody's interested in these awards, or people, pat each other in the back and all that nonsense. Nobody cares.
No. But I'm just remake wise. I mean, I didn't like the Psycho remake with Vince Vaughn. I just thought that is awful.
Well, and that's a great example of doing shot for shot is a terrible idea. Because that's pretty much what that was. It was an experiment to see if they could do a shot for shot remake, and it was just trash.
Yeah. But the actual book of Psycho is only a short story. It's not a very big book at all. It's
Robert. Even the sequel, Robert Bloch wrote the two of them. It just finishes with Norman Bates getting out of the asylum.
Yeah.
But the movie was now we're talking a while ago. I don't know what the movie was trying to do with that.
Yeah, but one thing that wasn't picked up on in the remake of what we on the Omen.
This is the way we roll. We love our tangents. We'll get back to the movie eventually. That's the plan, But
I never actually picked it up when I went to see it in the cinema. It was when I watched it, a couple of times to come here. Is red. Wherever there's going to be a death, there's something red. If you take Damien, wears red quite a lot right throughout the film. When he's on the swings, he's got like this red coat on and a red hat. There's a red diesel truck when the ambassador gets killed by the the diesel.
That was actually I have to say that was a brutal scene.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
That was actually, I'll give the props to that. That was a brutal scene. It was a bit sort of Final Destination. I know
100%.
But they really hammed it up.
Yeah.
For this one. But the ambassador and the flipping petrol just guzzling in there, and you're like, nah, you're not,
nothing worse than burning to death, is it? But and like the nanny, there's red balloons. For when the priest meets Mr. Thorne in the tunnel, in behind there's a couple of people wearing red cloaks that go by, and then of course he gets pinned by the spike.
That shit So it's been a minute since I've watched this, and I haven't watched it on as big and as high def a TV as I have now. I did not realize just how fucking dated the CG was in this.
It is
Like,
awful. Oh my god! Like that's right. The original movie does the scene in the churchyard with the spear is done 100 times better with 70s fucking practical effects.
Yeah, no, I agree.
This
definitely.
is Arnie. What was that fucking movie Arnie Schwarzenegger was in with the alligator or the crocodile?
I'm not sure.
No.
The last action was it the last action hero or something? Don't be like that with the friggin' CGI alligator.
Yeah.
This is that level of bad.
Yeah.
I'll have to take your word. I haven't watched that shit since I was a child. So.
Yeah, well, even I remember. I remember that.
Yeah, this was pretty
my
bad.
brain as a child watching that fucking alligator thing. You know, it's Sci-Fi Channel type shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that was a weird choice too. Like such a mundane thing that they're gonna leave the CG. Like it's a pike at the top of the tower coming off. Like, why wouldn't you shoot that practically? Like that was an interesting choice. I mean, the death is great. Like him actually standing there, like speared, like that. You know, that's practically done. Like that looks good. But that shit coming down, it's like, oh man, that's bad.
That's silver fucking Babylon 5 TV. You know, Babylon 5 is a great TV show, but the CGI is what takes you out of it. As that level of like, this is the fucking Commodore Amiga fucking. You know, fucking 8-bit fucking effects.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, why didn't you use the original score or a variant of it? Like, there's no atmosphere.
Well, atmosphere. Like you said, the haunting music in the original is Damien. It's Satan. It's whereas this one it made it quite flat, the score, and it made it more of a sort of thriller that you would catch on BBC One as opposed to
or straight the DVD or straight the streaming. You know, this is supposed to be a cinematic release. It was supposed to be the whole marketing behind 6th of June 2006. It was all meant to be that, but that was my thing. I remember the marketing and the discussion for Omen 4 in 1995. This completely, I sort of briefly remember at the time, but it completely went over my head. Yeah. And I have no memory of this movie at all. Like, that's how bad or flat.
I remember when I was going to go see it on opening day, like, they did the marketing so well. There was people protesting. I mean, again, I live in a highly religiously oppressive part of the world.
Yeah, but you're all lunatics over there. You should protest at the opening of a fridge if it's got the
absolutely.
Ham sandwiches on it.
I mean, that's what I think they did right, because it got all the fucking weird ass religious folks out, and it's like, it's a goddamn movie. Like, come on. See, while I will agree, like, the original score was better. Like, I felt like there was more of a sense of not so much dread as just desperation with this, whereas the first one, you get that beautiful, big, epic score. Like, it tells you Damien is terrible. With this, it's just sort of like there's a very subtle underlying dread throughout the entire film, and I feel like they did that pretty well.
Just on a light side, my son and I, like I said, we went to see it just after midnight on opening day. We were the only two in the screen in View Cinema in Plymouth. It was, and we thought, we're the only two. I know, we'll go and sit in the VIP seats. The hostess came up to us and she says, "You'll have to go back to your own seats that you've booked." We said, "But there's no one here." "Yeah, but you haven't paid the extra for those VIP seats."
Like, that's a job's worth. You're like,
oh, it's so funny. But,
if you've ever seen, like, I'm kind of going through the same situation at the moment. I'll go into a screen and it's like, there's me.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a quick, short, on the webpage going, this is the way to go to the cinema. No frigging people to annoy me. That's, and then I'm getting annoyed if like 10 people come in. Like, proper screen. I'm like, what are you all doing here? This is my screening. And I've got it in my head. I'm expecting a bad ticket now for me. This is what I've got in my head. Because it's for the last 4 movies I've had to see, it's been like nobody in the actual stall.
Yeah.
And I'm just expecting it now. Oh, what do you mean other people come to watch us as well? That's not right.
Yeah, that is the one disappointing thing when you're like someone like me. I go to matinees typically like on Mondays because nobody's there and it's great. So going to see something on like an opening night type of thing, it's always so weird when it's like, oh God, there's someone sitting next to me. What do I do?
And plus, you're very vocal over that side of the pond during movies.
When they,
which is
it depends on the movie. I mean, there's one I went to recently, like where there's literally people in the front of the cinema dancing and singing along, and I was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you people?" And then some movies, it's like just dead silent the whole time, so it does kind of run the gamut.
Yeah, I noticed a lot wrong with the remake. Everything from, if you take the opening scene where Robert's heading to the hospital, he's supposed to be there 0600 in the morning on June the 6th. Well, if you've ever been to Rome, at 0600 on June the 6th, it's bright. It's daylight.
Yeah, it's Mediterranean, so
it's pitch black in the film. There's also, it was supposedly filmed in Prague, Czech Republic, and Croatia, and yet they tried to double a lot of the scenes as London. And if you notice some of the things, you've got signs on shop windows in the back saying "Welcome to Prague" or whatever the language is over there. You got a
although in fairness, in today, maybe not so much in 2006, but definitely now in London, there's sections you may as well be in the flipping Middle East or freaking Poland.
Yeah.
It's not too far off the mark now, so you kind of gloss over that. But yeah,
you got in the scene where the father wants to meet Robert Thorne in Bishop's Park. If you look at it, there's a sign that says Bishop's Park, but it's actually falling off. And in behind it is a Czech Republic sign.
That's funny as shit.
Do you know what? They should have made this as a comedy parody.
Yeah.
And just had all that shit in and just let it, fucking sign actually falling off and stuff. It might have done better. Yeah, actually, in fairness, the guy who plays the priest this time round,
Pete Postlethwaite, isn't it?
Yeah, he was much better. The first one was just a lunatic.
Patrick Troughton.
He was just overacting it.
Patrick Troughton was Doctor Who.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. He was a second Doctor, wasn't he?
Second one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
After William Hartnell.
Yeah. That's right. He had the wee piccolo with him, and he played it randomly and stuff. But he was really overhamming it. It's like
nerds.
Calm the fuck down. I know. Imagine being nerdy on this show. Like that's.
There's a lot of scenes in the remake as well. If you look closely enough, especially with the course of the Blu-ray and the high quality thing, you can actually see the boom mic come in from above, just the top of it. See,
that's where I felt I messed up. Like I didn't realize that my version was so dated. Like I have the full screen DVD release, so it's like it's not even filling up my entire TV, and it's like, oh god, I really need to buy the box set all over again. Because I think I bought the box set when it came out in like 2008 or some shit. So it's all just it's not even like HD DVD.
It's just
So I definitely need to get it so I can see all this funny shit.
Actually, that was a funny thing, Steve, you mentioned, because Steve actually took proper notes, not my usual. He's actually went all in on this and fucking like done a deep dive. I'm like, That's way too professional for us.
Right, just
Here,
watch my last
have the
review.
keys to the podcast. We'll just go home now.
What you've got to realise is, at my age, I've got to take notes as I forget. I'll be here discussing Star Wars Episode 5 or something.
Oh, we do that.
I mean, I'm game. As long as I'm off by like 11, like we're golden. I will fucking jerk off about Empire. Oh god.
But with so many mistakes, the original budget was 2.8 million.
Yeah.
And this remake was 25 million. How can they get so much so wrong?
Yeah. I did get it at 2006 rate just now. 26. Let's pull it up again.
Are you going to compare it to 15 million in 2023 rate?
2006, yeah. Podcast 26. So so the 2006 film was 25 million and it took 120 million worldwide.
Yep.
The 1976 film had a budget of 2.8 million, which and it hasn't saved, I think.
Yeah, 15 million in today's rate. So even at today's rate,
10 million at 2006 rate.
Mm-hmm.
And it took an estimated 61 million, which was 216 million.
Damn.
So the first one took like 8 times as much. The second one, and the 1976 one took like about 190 times as much, is it? Something like that. 28 is 10. 20, 30, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
And that's not even counting DVD sales.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Or anything afterwards, the longevity. And this is the whole point of what we've been talking about. What are studios doing? This isn't just a recent phenomenon. Like we can kind of benchmark 2010. We've seen it. That's when cinema started really going downhill. But we can see the starts of it now. Like after like the early 2000s, getting to this point, this is where I don't know what the hell's happened with them, but they've really jumped the shark. They're pumping money in like nobody's business in the movies, but they're not putting the basic care or passion behind it.
Yeah.
And this shows so much, and this is I don't know. I find myself almost just sort of snoring through this, sort of okay. Like there was nothing grabbing me.
I think they're also taking it that the person who goes to the cinema is completely stupid, and because if you take the Taken trilogy, the car chases in that, the car gets smashed up that often. Yet if you look scene to scene, the car goes back to normal, and then it gets smashed up again, then it goes back to normal, and the same happened in this film when he knocks over the nanny when he's trying to escape.
Oh, that was hilarious.
The car gets damaged, but then further down the scene, the damage is gone.
Yeah, and then he smashes into the gate. I mean, that's just the testament of the quality of a Lexus.
And the crumple zone didn't even activate because those cars are designed with the crumple zone. That's the whole point of it, that the whole front end disintegrates the take away impact. No. And those gates are not small. Like that car should have been.
Yeah, that car should not have made it through.
Also, he uses a key to start the car on the film, and the car that he actually used is a fob.
Except that Lexus was one of the first to bring out the idea of the fobs.
Yeah. So he uses a key. He shows his keys. And
I love the way there's no security inside the mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
For a diplomatic residence, all the plot are outside. Nobody's actually inside patrolling the interior, and all this shit can go down with barely a word.
Well, it's cool because there's a cop outside, like outside the gate. Yeah. So that's all they need.
You mean the one who stands outside going stop like that?
Because that's when somebody's revving up full speed to crash through the gates. That's
Really
going to work.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, that scene where he runs over the nanny, she's like, "Woo!"
That's just
that was
so
comedy
goddamn
gold.
funny. Like I laugh at that just as hard as I saw it the first time, every time.
Yeah. There's parody. It was Dawn French and Jennifer Saunders, and they did a parody of Braveheart, in which Dawn French was the killer, and she says, "Stop! The prisoner has something to say." And the Jennifer Saunders is actually on the table, just like Mel Gibson was, and she goes, "Ouch!" Oh, yeah. They did one of like the Omen. I'm trying to think what it was now, but it made me laugh.
This, I think this would have definitely worked better as a comedy. There's so much daftness in it.
I was laughing through most of it.
Yeah, but you're not meant to. This film's actually trying to take itself seriously. That's the problem. When a film's trying to take itself seriously and be an improvement, as all remakes try to do.
Yeah, I just don't worked at all. I think from the start, the music was wrong. I think they didn't put the heart and soul into it. But, I mean, there's probably hundreds more mistakes that I didn't see, that other people see. Continuity, even dialogue. It's one good thing.
Dialogue, wasn't it?
One good thing I did like about it was they brought it up to date with the sort of pre-storyline, like at the beginning when the telescope is looking up to the stars and everything, and of course you got the Pope and everything in chambers saying about the he will rise from the earth and whatever it was, and they're saying about the two towers and the tsunami, and
they brought it into the time of the year, which
it was good that they tried to bring it up to date.
Yeah,
but I think after that the film just died.
Let's talk about Robot Damien.
Yeah, that kid was.
What?
I want to say he wasn't that good, but he was pretty much on par with like the rest of the actors in this. Like aside from like Professor Lupin, like that guy's always great in everything he's in. But he was definitely an excellent counterpart to Julia Stiles.
Yeah. That was. I've had this thing. Is Julia Stiles actually a good actor?
I'm kind of always on the fence myself.
I don't know. It's like she was part of the Jason Bourne series, but that was awful anyway. She kind of wouldn't plank her way through that. She was great in Orphan.
Yeah.
Like we saw her give her a better range, and we saw the dark side to her in Orphan. That was fantastic. I don't know how I feel. Is she trying to be understated? Is that her whole shtick? That she's not trying to be a superstar and playing understated roles? I just don't know. It's I was going to ask Asim last night about Chloe Moretz, but she's another one I can't put my head around.
I don't think she's a good actor at all.
It's just something about her. Same as Julia Stiles. There's something about them, but I don't know what it'll take from the push forward to the next level. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's a shame. She was wasted. Even saying that for her, she was wasted in this role.
Yeah.
Totally.
Mrs. Thorne was
I feel like
character in this.
I was gonna say I feel like she would have been much better in the Mia Farrow part, but yeah, I was like the main protagonist, not so much.
I think as well with actresses, I think you got 3 levels in Hollywood. You've got the top stars, a bit like in the male side at the moment. The top actor appears to be Timothée Chalamet, isn't it? He's the most wanted at the moment. And I think then you got the general middle sort of rankings of ones that are chosen quite regularly for any other parts, and then you got the ones who are being totally forgotten, and perhaps she's just in the middle where she perhaps the bottom of the middle where she's being pulled into parts like this one on The Omen.
She'll never be a lead actress. We'll know that. That's
No.
But you don't have to be. That's the thing. If you're a supporting cast and you do your job well and you're always there and reliable, like I wouldn't complain. It just seems a weird one. There's no chemistry with this family. Like even in the original, there was at least chemistry, and even Damien himself.
I feel like that was a choice though with this movie. Is like they were all so separated. Like they were just almost like strangers passing in the night.
Yeah,
I do feel like that was honestly a choice in this movie.
Because
like even with the husband, like his whole thing is he doesn't really give a fuck about his wife. Like you never see them together unless they're in the car.
No.
His only concern is always the fucking child. Like Damien pushes her off the ledge and she falls 3 goddamn floors on her back and survives, but his only hang up is like, oh no, the baby that I just found out about died that she was already going to get a fucking abortion for. Like,
yeah,
dude's kind of a cunt.
Yeah, at least in the first, at least in the original, there were scenes of them in bed together, just talking and being family, and there was love there. You could see, there was chemistry between the characters, and there was a family unit, and he did. But this guy's just like, you don't believe him when he gets upset.
No,
except for when the babies die, then you can believe it.
He tries
That's all he gives a fuck about.
Tries to play the same characterization as other films he's been in. He has the same characterization, the same mannerisms, as anything else he's been in. And I think that's where he failed. Whereas when you get in the original movie, you get such a star as Gregory Peck, who can fit into any role and make it as different. If you put him in a bat suit, for instance, he'd play the Batman.
Yeah, he'd have a go at it. Yeah.
He wouldn't play Gregory Peck as Liev Schreiber, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, he's one of those ones. I know his face. I've seen him around, but he's so forgettable.
Yeah,
that you erase him from memory. Like honestly, I'm forgetting this movie already. It's just one of those kind of meh. I'll watch the original again and again. I've got the obviously the original trilogy. And I just love the fact in the original that Damien was the innocent. He wasn't aware.
Yeah.
Until the end, and it leads into the part 2 where he's still in denial or he doesn't understand what he is until the third part where he fully embraces.
Yeah.
But we've got Robot Damien just, me, I am evil, evil, I will kill you, me. And it's like...
With this, it makes sense. Like, I will defend that aspect of it. Not the robot, but just like him understanding... essentially, the catalyst was the birthday party when the nanny hung herself. Like, that was when the switch flipped in his head and he understood his purpose. Because there was no plan for a sequel to this. Like, it was just a one and done remake. Whereas with the original series, like there was supposed to be multiple films, at least from my understanding. So it makes sense that he's going to be the almost unwilling Antichrist. Whereas with this, it's like, no, he's the fucking Antichrist. He knows he's the Antichrist and he's here to fuck shit up.
Yeah, maybe that's but once again, because there's no atmosphere with us, you don't get it. It just seems like wooden acting. So that's the missing the atmosphere here is the main missing component.
Yeah.
That has turned this could have been a great remake, a standalone thing. Not trying to stamp on the original.
I
But it was just so flat that you can't. You just go through the motions watching this. You can't get invested.
No, because the original Damien Harvey Stevens was actually in the remake. He was actually played a photographer who stood outside the embassy to welcome, ask questions. I think when the nanny died, he actually shouted, "Was she on drugs?"
Mm-hmm.
And he was actually in the film, the original Harvey Stevens, the original Damien. But if you're saying about the nanny dying, there were two things in that. There's one where Mrs. Thorne actually looks up when the nanny shouts, "Damien, this is all for you." You see one shot of her looking up, and then the shot comes from where the nanny is and looking down onto where Mrs. Thorne should be, and she's not in the crowd. So looking up, she should be in the crowd. Looking down from the nanny side, she's not there.
Yeah, I think that's not going as in depth, but you always feel there's something wrong. You're watching this and there's something wrong, and just it ticks over, even as just taking it at face value. You're like, this doesn't connect, and that's what it's missing. It's missing that actual, oh right, I'm in the story, because there's just so choppy and bland, the way they've done it and dialed in.
Yeah,
I would say lazy. I would say this is probably one of the laziest remakes I've encountered.
Yeah, I would say so. I think they just done it and thought, well, stick it in the cinema. We're on a budget,
People are stupid; they'll just turn up because of the nostalgia.
They won't notice the two dogs, or the.
Hey, you know what? This shit came out almost 20 fucking years ago, and I didn't really comprehend that. Like, I always knew it was two different dogs, but for some reason, it never really clicked that it was two different dogs.
But if
that is a movie I've watched quite a few times. Yeah. I actually enjoy this movie.
If they'd used a Doberman, I'd have maybe forgiven him. But a Shepherd is such a different breed.
Yeah,
from the Rottweiler, and the Rottweiler is iconic. The Rottweiler is synonymous, like Damien himself. The Rottweiler breed is synonymous with this movie and franchise.
Yeah, but I think it's perceptions as well. When you're a dog owner, people think of a Rottweiler as a devil dog, and I know lots of people with Rottweilers, and they're far from it.
Absolutely, they're just big, dumb, gentle dogs.
They're just the biggest floofs ever.
German Shepherds. My first dog was a German Shepherd. He wasn't black, but not the sort of dog I would have put in a film like The Omen to say he's the devil dog.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the thing with But movies the media have done this for years anyway, because the German Shepherd was a devil dog, then it was a Rottweiler, then it was a Doberman, now it's a pit bull, and then they'll never pick the Chihuahua, which will actually tear your hand.
That's the most vicious fucking dog.
The freaking my first dog was Jack Russell, and she'd tear your face off if you annoyed her.
I have more scars from Chihuahuas that I've had over the years than all of my big dogs combined. Like I have one scar from a pit bull, and that was because she was a baby and she had teeny tiny little sharp nails, and she got caught on my pants and fucking cut my leg. Other than that, I've never, ever been attacked by a big fucking dog.
I've got a Staffy at the moment, and she's a complete angel.
Oh, of course.
Talking about Chihuahuas, there was a woman up in Denport Park in Plymouth who used to have 7, and I used to take my dog up to Denport Park, considering she's a 22 kilogram Staffordshire Bull Terrier. Mm-hmm. She used to see these 7 Chihuahuas, and she used to run as fast as she could in the other direction.
I'm having no part of that.
No way.
Yeah, well, fuck yeah, that's like a pack of piranhas, man.
Yeah, so that's exactly the analogy I was about to come off. That's like wading in water with a pack of piranha. You're going to have no legs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the thing comes there. Why, especially these filmmakers, did they, with the Omen, why did they say, oh, right, devil dog, or we're going to have a Rottweiler or a German Shepherd. When are those breeds actually taken in that they're nasty and vicious? Because it's the owners that make them nasty and
That's
vicious.
the whole other conversation. Freaking people are dumb as
people are cunts.
Honestly, piss me off.
Yeah.
I would value a dog's life over a person's any day. That's just me.
Absolutely. If my house was on fire right now, all the animals would be outside, and then I would consider my wife. Maybe a couple of guitars, and then the wife. I don't know. It depends on.
And she'd do the same. I think John would just be like,
back absolutely.
So, and that's why he's just been married so long.
Otherwise, like my well-being, I can take care of myself. Those animals are the priority, and at least one or two guitars.
The other thing about the last one I've got written down is the geography. If you take Father Spiletto, he actually tells Robert and the photographer, and that the town of Megiddo is south of Jerusalem, and it's not. It's actually north of Jerusalem.
No, it said north.
No, it said south. I'm sure they said south.
No, well,
I don't. Okay,
which one was it? Which priest are we talking? Were we talking about the one that's all fucked up from the fire, or the dude that sent him there originally?
No, the dude that sent him to the place where.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, I remember when they're at the convent, they're like, yeah, it's like 50 kilometers north of here, but that makes sense then.
And this is what I don't get in the remake, because he was messed up in the first one, and he was physically unable to speak.
Yeah.
Write. Hence why I had to, write notes down. This guy was pretty much in good health, and he was just like, waiter. Yeah, I'm a sinner. I've conspired with Satanists, and to bring about the apocalypse and the downfall of church and that stuff. But I'll just sit here in luxury, and you will wait on me hand and foot as my penance. At least the first guy in the original, you felt like he was given some sort of penance. This guy was just a dick. He's like, I'm just an evil bastard. I'm gonna make his wait on me now hand and foot. Give me my piece of charcoal, which looks stupid as hell.
Yeah. Well, why the fuck wouldn't he have it on him? Like, that doesn't make sense.
He could have just had a pen and paper, really, couldn't he? The way he wrote.
The over dramatization of certain aspects are so jarring when other parts are bland as fuck. It's just
that is the fun. Like, one of the funny things about this is some of it, like, it just feels like some of it's stage acting and some of it's camera acting. And like, for instance, basically that scene from when they get to the convent to when they discover the jackal and that his son was killed, all that shit, like, that feels like they're playing for the back seats. And then like the following scene, it's all just meh, like when dude gets his head chopped off and shit. I mean, it's still, I giggle about it every time, but yeah, it's like very underwhelming compared to that over the top, like, this is a stage, we built this is surreal, this isn't reality, this is fantasy.
I think that's what's so jarring about this, because it flips and flops and makes, and you just get a sense of wrongness with this whole movie. That's what I take from this. It's just raw. You're just like, this isn't sitting right. This isn't like, we've watched plenty of remakes, and some we've enjoyed, some we've had a laugh with, some we've like, nah, never do that again.
Yeah.
But this was just like, even if this wasn't a remake, right? If this was put out as is, the original idea, you wouldn't feel it. You'd just be walking around going, what the hell have I watched? You get nothing from it.
Yeah. I think the message that comes from podcasts like this needs to tell the studios, look, the cinema goer is not stupid.
The studios hate.
Unlike the majority of people that they're marketing to are fucking stupid.
Yeah,
like, look at how successful the Marvel movies
YouTubers. They hate us. We are the Antichrist to the Holy Church of fucking Hollywood. They utterly hate our guts, because we're just a few people. We can sit in our rooms with a camera and a microphone, and we'll dissect stuff and don't need studios, we don't need fluff pieces, and we'll just break down as if we're few people. This is way if we had a few beers in our hand and we're sitting in the living room, this is the conversation, and I don't like that.
Yeah,
because we'll hit the nerve, and we're like, this is why I didn't like it.
Yeah.
And they try and like it's so funny now. Like the go-to for a studio is if you don't watch this, you're a nestophobe. You're all the not just one of them, but you're all the estophobes if you don't like this movie. That's watch it, you bigot. You know, we hate your guts, but give us your money anyway, you bastard.
Yeah.
You're kind of scratching your head going, you're not inspiring me here. And this is, I think, the start of it. This laziness that's come in the movie making.
The studio's probably sat there though, Colin, watching this and thinking, and one director's saying to the other, or one executive saying, let's kill him. Yeah? Who should we get? Let's get Constantine to do it. He's just a character in a film. Is he? Let's still kill him. You know, that's the like I said, they think that the cinema go in some parts is stupid. Well, most of them might be, but
I was like that's one thing I will definitely
you
most of them
actually annihilate a film.
Yeah, but do you remember it used to be you had your matinees, you had your blockbuster, you had your popcorn flicks, and that was fine. That was fine. You know, that's what that gets bums in seat. But then after tea time, that's where the grown-up movies happened.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
the families went out at lunchtime for the matinees or early tea time. That was fine. And then after the 7 o'clock or 9 o'clock show was always the horror movie, the thriller, the ones for the 18 plus. That's gone now. Everything's just become so bland. And I almost think we're getting to we still haven't got the ground zero of when this shit started, but I think we're getting close. Like this is another example of the grifters that have got into the creative industry. They're just there to dial it in. They're just there to get a paycheck. They're not actually invested in what they do. If you're going to remake something, you got to have respect for the lore. Why was that original piece so iconic? Why has it stood the test of time? And how can I pay homage to that and put a little twist to freshen up for the modern audience? And this is just, I don't give a shit. Like, from scene to scene, they don't give a shit.
Oh, that's right. It's like you say, it just comes across, all right, yeah, we've done that scene. Let's do the next one. What's the next one? Oh, yeah, get over there then. Yeah, all right. Yeah, and that's how it appears to have gone.
Yeah.
Totally.
Did this movie need to be nearly 2 hours long?
No, definitely not. That's probably my one biggest bitch fit with this movie because I thoroughly enjoy it. Like it's you make a bag of popcorn, you sit there and you giggle the way through. But yeah, it doesn't need to be that long.
That's why I get Killer Clowns from Outer Space or
see that's
if I want
like
popcorn and just
religious
laugh, I'll watch
like
Ash vs. Evil Dead for the 20th time, and that's schlocky as hell, and that's continuity issues all over from episode to episode. But there's heart behind it, and I'll laugh. This. Nah, mate, you're on your own here.
Hey, no, and I understand that. Like, there's a lot of remakes that I don't know if it was just the place I was mentally when it came out or what that I enjoy even with all its problems. Kind of like Constantine. Like that is just admittedly that's not a good fucking movie, but it's one that I will cherish till the day I die.
Yeah. But there was heart behind that. That was the thing, and that's
was
what
there though.
Yeah. They wanted to make a fun movie. They wanted to bring the subject matter into an action flick. And with action flicks, although I've gone off them because it's got so repetitive now, but there was always a sense of fun. So they were making a horror action flick with Constantine. And you kind of got that impression. You know what I mean? You felt that there were some people cared.
Yeah.
Putting together.
But if it wasn't for the fact that this movie was a new addition to Disney Plus, because they put it on Disney Plus, believe it or not, I wouldn't have thought about it again. It wouldn't have been something it wouldn't have been something I would have said to Colin. Oh, Colin, do you remember this? About
I'm just like, no. I'm thinking about a completely different movie.
If it wasn't on the list on Disney Plus, it wouldn't have crossed my mind to say about this, and probably this podcast would have never have happened on discussion, because it's forgettable. The film is forgettable. Because if you think of Omen 2, I got into serious trouble when that one came out, and because I was at college in Plymouth, the College for Further Education, and the lift broke down, and it got stuck between floors 2 and 3, and there was a woman in there, and she was sweating profusely because she was frightened of being in the lift with so many people for such a long time. So, me and all my wisdom of joking around and everything, I turns to my mates and says, "Has anyone seen Omen 2 yet?" Yeah, the lift breaks and cuts this bloke in half. This woman screamed.
Yeah, the way the cable just comes down,
Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh,
I got reported to the principal and taken in front of the principal for saying this, and I said, "Oh, I was only discussing the film." Like,
yeah, I'm sorry she overheard it. Like, what? Passing time. Oh, you'd be burnt at the stake now. If you tried that now, you'd be friggin' they'll come at you with the pitchforks and burning torches.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sinner. That's someone's life.
But yeah, it's a pretty useless remake and unnecessary. I would say absolutely unnecessary.
So maybe should have just re-released the original and give it an upgrade.
Yeah,
give it a digital upgrade. That might have worked better for the, and especially when they weren't going to redo the entire series, because that was why make this if you weren't planning to redo the whole lot?
Yeah.
Well, see, and that's the argument that I'll make is this was a separate entity. Like this was set up as being just a one shot, whereas with the original film, like I feel like, I mean, of course, probably biased because I know there's a full franchise, but it feels like it was set up for future films. Whereas this, it was just like, nah, we're done.
Yeah. Like the I don't know. I just didn't care. Like if they had said there was going to be a sequel to this, like I would like, nah.
I mean, I agree with that. I definitely wouldn't have gave a shit about a sequel to this, but
this is so forgettable. Like after it's done, you're just like, okay, did I watch something? Yeah. Final sort of question about this. The whole thing with the Vatican and them being active, they weren't very proactive, were they? Like,
I mean, that kind of sounds like perfect.
No, but they're actually saying this is the apocalypse, and they did nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the final scene, the Pope kills himself. Is that right, or did he have a heart attack or something? That was
no, he died. He just died in his bed.
I thought there was they were signifying that he had maybe drunk something with the chalice,
I never took it as that. I just took it as he was just in bed dying.
What was the like? I don't get it. What was the point?
Well, duh, that was to signify that was the end.
The end of the world, as we know.
No, it's not like they sent a bunch of exorcists or a team or anything like that. Like if it had been like John Carpenter's, vampires, and they had an actual fucking team to we found the Antichrist, go, and they come out in their fucking helicopter, trying to defeat him, that would have been better. But the Vatican being involved and then not being involved at all, and then at the end, as if they'd been foiled or something when they'd done nothing, it's weird.
Did you also notice there was no subtitles on?
When they were speaking Italian,
they were speaking Latin, and so you had to really guess what they were saying.
It's a hard time.
It could have been anything. It could have been, what time's dinner tonight? When those two stars cross, we'll go for dinner then. Where are we going? Let's go for an Italian pizza up the road,
Yeah, we had pasta last night, that the signs tell us to go for pepperoni. Just was completely pointless, shoehorned in scenes. But it's like, what he's doing.
I said the best thing about those scenes was they brought it up to date with the meaning of certain bits in the book. They thought it was related to the two towers crashing, and
I love the way the Treaty of Rome was brought up, and obviously Remainers everywhere be going, that's blasphemy, don't speak about our beloved EU like that.
Right.
That would get that's why I'm not afraid to say it, because I know that's the one thing that'll tick people off, especially in London. Freaking sinner, you speak against the holiness.
The funny thing I found about that scene with the people speaking Latin is they went through each one, like stars, and the stars crossing means this and this, and they came to the like fourth one or the fifth one, and it was obvious they didn't have anything for it, so the head guy there just cuts in and goes, no, hold on, we have the answers, and sort of thing. And you think, but what about that one? This one was a tsunami. This one was the Twin Towers. What about this one?
Cut scene. It was but the thing is, I had the main story script, so all I had to do was embellish it a bit. So there's very little writing to do. Who are these idiots that were involved in this movie?
Yeah.
Oh, we've got to think of this. We've got 3 scenes they actually write different from the original beats. I'm confused.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's the old Alfred Hitchcock adage of making a movie. You have like 3 or 4 good scenes, the rest can be filler, and it's still going to be a good movie if it's shot right.
Yeah, this wasn't. That's a problem.
Terrible.
Yeah, the argument doesn't hold there. It's like,
I've got my devil dog here.
Yeah, probably begging for treat. You're just like, oh, love me.
She's telling me it's 5 o'clock, and
yeah, that what when you're like 2 minutes late for a dog, it's like, you starve me to death.
Right.
What are you doing? Do you hate me? What? It's like,
mine have like automatic feeders because I get fucking sick of having to wake up early as shit to feed them. And even still, then even they know it's like the timer is gonna go off. They're still looking at you like, where the fuck is it? Where is it? Are you gonna feed me? Are you gonna feed me? And then it goes off. They're like, oh yeah, and then they go fuck off.
You could give her anything in between. Like she had a mini ham bone a couple of hours ago, which you thought would have filled her up. No, it's still time for din-dins. So
yeah, mine were like that. Just looking at you, you're late. Your time's ticking here. You bad person. Even my bloody birds, when I know it's time to go in and I haven't put something in their seed dish, because what I do is that signifies it's time. I let them out when I come home from work, and to get out an hour or two, and then it's time to go back in. So I always signify I take a wee bit of seed and I top up their seed dish. If I don't do that, or if I get distracted, or if I'm on a call, I have them squawking at me going, what are you doing? And then they're just looking at me as if I'm the worst person in the world. And the worst, and I know what I've really messed up is when they're both actually inside the cage at their bowls, glaring at me. You bastard! Like, I'm sorry. I know, like, apologizing to my bird. I'm so sorry. I'm a shithead. I know.
Yeah. Yeah. So you speak to them like they're human, don't you?
Yeah, that's why not? Better than some people. Better than freaking talking on the internet.
Yeah,
you get better conversations. But guys, this is a lot of fun. Sorry, Cameron.
Hey, no,
love you,
the thing is, I understand with a lot of newer movies, I'm gonna be the one, like the last man standing on the hill saying, I fucking love this movie. I understand.
Yeah, well, I'm getting you back for Prince of Darkness, bastard.
Oh man,
fucking ruining my childhood.
Yeah, I mean, you can keep that. I'm gonna keep this as part of my childhood.
That's fine. We'll just keep our own toys in our own cupboards.
Exactly.
Steve, thank you very much for being on. It's been an absolute blast.
That's all right, mate.
Hope you enjoyed it. It's just the whole point is just come on, have a bit of fun. Just riffing movies, love them or hate them. We're missing this type of dialogue. That's the problem with social media. Everyone's like so black or white or A or B or
Yeah. And you either agree or you're the enemy. And it's like, no, that's part of why cinema has always been such an important part of like the human experience, is because even if you don't agree, there's a discussion and it's fucking fun.
Yeah, I think everyone's got their own, thoughts and everything. It's like things my other half likes, I might not like, and it's just one of those things, isn't it?
But if we're all the same,
Cameron might think the film's brilliant. We think it's rubbish. It's our opinion, isn't it?
Yeah, and when bloody him and Adam picking me, like, it's nice to be the other way around for a change.
Right, it is quite the change.
The redcoats are coming.
That's fucking what it is, man. I didn't get my musket ready. Shit.
Yeah. So next time we're in Utah, we'll get Keanu Reeves over too.
Oh man, that'd be the shit.
It'll be 2074. Constantine 2 still happening.
Fuck yeah. It's a hologram.
Maybe it'll be cancelled for 3 times.
Well, I told you I was at college with this prank with a woman with the lift. We had a studio come around to say they needed extras up on Dartmoor. And it was for the film Revolution, 1984, with Al Pacino. And so all I had to do for my 50 quid a day, 50 is good money back in 1984.
That's
was lay there and pretend I'm dead.
Hell yeah.
And had loads of like blood and everything from the muskets and everything. But it was all right. But the bloody ground was wet. And it was freezing cold up on Dartmoor. But so ever since then, I've gone around telling people that I was in the film and I was Al Pacino's supporting actor.
Hell yeah.
I accidentally set Dartmoor on fire one time.
No shit.
We're training, it's action attack, and we have the thing mini flare, so it's like a pen, but that size. You squeeze the top end, you're like back, and the flare goes off. So, and the thing is, this was February time, but the ground was dry as hell.
Yeah.
And it just goes into the frigging gorse.
Yeah.
And we hadn't realized, because we're obviously, contact right, fucking, throwing the schmoonies and smoke and flare, next thing, poof.
Yeah.
Now it's a case of, stop! So get the fire, and what it was, because a lot of it's still National Trust land. A lot of army bases use National Trust, and it's like an agreement because it's protected from the public. Then, so there's all the fire breaks done through the forest, and there's still got the beaters, and that's all kind of left there throughout the year. There's like, go get the beater, we're all freaking grabbing it, trying to. There's a whole skyhead fucking taking off.
Yeah,
we're all like beating it. Fuck out of it. It's like, oh shit, man. Yeah,
was a bit like that.
So random.
You have one of those mini barbecues, and suddenly it turns into the whole section of.
Yeah, and it could be the middle of winter, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
you're like, I was pissing rain 2 days ago. What the hell? Fun times. Right, on that happy note, we'll wrap it up. This could go on for hours. This is the best sort of thing. We'll stop talking about the movies 3 hours ago. We're talking like random shite. Love it.
Oh, yeah.
Once again, thanks for being on. Also, special thanks to our February contributors. Phoebe Xavier for contributing Horrific Tale. Thank you very much. As always, open for submissions. You want to get involved with the show, check the website out. Keep up to date. Plenty going on. Hopefully, Steve, if you want to come on again, love to have you.
Yeah.
We'll trash another movie that Cameron loves and just. I think this could become a regular segment.
Next time let's talk about my fucking childhood instead.
I'm all up
Talk
for
shit on that.
Right? Nothing secret.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, folks, keep up to date with the channel. Do the typey clicky things. And until next time, keep it creepy.
Keep it
horrific.